There we go. That's, what's his name? I remember him from the Village.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, yes.
Where in the Village did you live? I lived in the Village.
I lived on King Street.
I lived on Waverly and 10th, and I lived on 9th and 3rd.
Well, yeah, I was on, well, it was, 6th Avenue,
Right.
right off King Street there. 6 rooms and a brownstone for
wow.
$100 a month.
For how much?
$100 a month.
Oh, John.
That was 1967.
Yeah, I paid $350 for a really nice big apartment on Waverly and 10th. I lived on 14th and 7th also. I like it downtown. I've lived uptown, West Side, but it's not for me. I like it downtown.
The Village was alive.
The best. I used to sell candles on 8th Street on St. Mark's. Could you die? On the street. The cops used to move us all. Do you have a license? No. Move those candles.
St. Mark's. Everybody call it the East Village, but I never considered it part of Greenwich Village. It was really the hippies that lived over there.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was it. It was a great area, though. But on 10th Street, you were over there. What was it? There was a famous nightclub there on the corner.
I can't remember the name. I know
Judy Heller's.
Oh, yeah. So,
Judy Heller's.
We used to go there like 3 in the morning, stoned out of our minds. And the Fillmore, we used to go to the Fillmore at like 3.
Yes. Well, I used to go to the after hour clubs. I was tending bar in Louis Tavern. And we would go to the, close at 4, we go to the after hour clubs.
Fabulous. And then Jimi Hendrix studio was right on St. Mark's, Electric Ladybird.
Yes. Actually, I remember the night when what was the gay club that was raided? The Stonewall.
Oh, I lived across the street from a gay club, and I can't remember the name of it when I was on Waverly and 10th. Yeah. But they were the coolest clubs for a long time.
They were the best, and they were all run by the mob.
Yeah.
They were safe. But I remember the night that they busted that. I was in an Israeli nightclub on Grove Street there called the Alvarado. We came out and I was, what's going on? I said, well, the gays are going crazy again. And everybody knew they were going to get raided. Everybody knew they were going to get raided because they were all warned ahead of time, But I think it was Bella Abzug. You could play Bella Abzug.
I did in a reading of Shirley MacLaine's film once. We did a reading of it and I played Bella.
Yeah, I was just looking at you now. I'm thinking of that. There's Bella Abzug sitting right there. She was a piece of work.
Hey, how have you been?
I've been good. How about you?
I've been really good. I've been writing a lot since I like being home, John. I don't miss it.
Do you like, I don't mind being home. I mean.
Everything's on Zoom. I teach on Zoom. I coach on Zoom.
You still teach on Zoom? Well, before we get into, your background, I want to tell the public something about you. I really admire that you teach how to break down a script.
Script analysis, yeah.
Yes, and I always get aggravated when I used to pass by there and there was no one there, only a few students. And I couldn't understand why all these finalists, observers, and rush to be in your class. It's just
because then you'd see work go up and they didn't know anything about the script.
That's what I'm saying, Ellen.
Unbelievable.
And when I try to say something, people get mad at me because they say you shouldn't interfere. But them classes, Alan Miller's class and yours, they should be waiting in line to get in to see you.
I know.
You're a gift, Ellen. I got to say that.
Thank you.
No, I mean that. You're a gift.
Well, I have that script analysis, and I really love doing it. And I trained with Stella Adler for years on that. So, and she was the best. Oh yeah, she had a big seminar. De Niro was in it, and Goldblum, and everybody. And I took that many times, and I'm that's my biggest forte. I love it.
Yeah, well, you do it really well. I sat in a few of your classes, sessions. I don't like to call them classes. It was sessions, and they were really interesting. I'd learned a little bit, and it was a shame. I thought about that today. We have it on the I said, they should be even on Zoom. I don't know. Do you do it on Zoom?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
I hope you get a lot of people, and I hope after this show is picking up. And I was looking at your resume, and I noticed your first film was called what? The $1 Billion Hobo, 1977.
My first film was Jokes Your Folks Never Told You, and it was dirty jokes, and
Oh,
a lot
really?
of people were scantily dressed, except me. I was dressed from my neck up down, and I was a teacher, and I taught these kids. And I told my mother I was a teacher in this film, but it really was a sort of off color. So that was my first film.
Was it in the $1 Billion Hobo?
Yeah, that was with Tim Conway. I had a great time. He
Oh,
was the cook and I was the waitress.
oh.
Hmm.
That must have been something working with him. He was
Oh,
really good
he's a
improv.
genius. Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
He
Yeah.
I mean, did he stick to the script or?
He stuck to the script. And yeah, he was marvelous. I'm real good with improv. I studied with Harvey Lembeck years ago. And we got along great. And so he was the cook and I was the waitress, and it was great. I had a wonderful time.
That was 1977. That's when I got out.
Oh yeah, in 77?
Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna forget that date.
No, that's when I saw that resume. I said, well, that's when I got out. You know, I just got out in 77, and I hear it was great. So, how did you get into acting? Let's start from the beginning.
Okay. I had nothing to do with acting. In fact, when I was a little kid, my mom put me in a drama class and I begged her to get me out of it. I was so shy. And then I went to college at the University of Georgia, and then I went to New York and I was a social worker for the welfare department. But I always wanted to be an actress, but it was never talked about. So, of course, I was in therapy. So, who wasn't then? And I remember my therapist when I said to him, "This is what I really want to do, but what if I fail?" And he said, "You're not going to fail, because if you do what you love to do, then you have won. You've succeeded if you're doing what you love to do." So I quit my welfare, my social work job, and I went to went to Strasbourg and auditioned, and I got in. And then there was the phone call home that I quit my security job, because you don't get fired from that. And now I'm going to be an actress. I heard this for 20 minutes from my mother. That's all I heard. For like, are you crazy? So, and then I became a barmaid, and I don't really drink. I had no idea what I was doing. Thank God I had a personality, because I'm the one who came to the table and went, "Is yours the dark drink with the cubes? Could you get it? It's the third one in." So I was like, but that's what I did. And I studied with Lee himself for 5 years, New York and LA. I had never been to LA. So I figured I'll follow him, because he does 6 months in New York, 6 months in LA. So I came to LA and I stayed. At the time, the Montecito was a hotel. Now it's
Right. Oh, it was a hotel back then.
yeah. And we stayed there because Strasbourg was right on Hollywood Boulevard at the time. So I could get there and stayed, and I brought my little dog, and that was that.
Ah. We have a guest. I had her on the show, Valentina Ferrara, who studied, went to HB and all of that. And the reason I had her on today, I asked her to come on because I was telling her about you. And well, you came in a little late. She was late, and I'm glad she came on. I just wanted her to know that Ellen teaches about how to break down a script. So later on, she's gonna, if you don't mind, Ellen, a few questions that she has.
Oh, of course.
I'm very impressed with her. Someone wants to learn about the work.
Yes, totally.
She's a New York actor.
It's a pleasure to someone who wants to learn and doesn't just want to get pictures taken and be a star.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I keep looking at my social media and I keep thinking to myself, I have all these beautiful pictures, but it's not getting me anywhere.
Do you have an agent?
I'm looking for new agents now, someone that believes in me and someone that can can, you know, submit for a woman my age.
I want to ask you, do you have tape on you?
What do you mean tape on me?
Do you have a tape that you can present?
I have a reel.
Oh, you have a reel.
I
Okay.
do. I have a reel. I have a resume. You
Perfect.
know, I've worked, but it's not the same as when I had an agent. You know, when you have an agent, I was going out on auditions monthly, sometimes multiple times. The Deuce called me back twice.
Oh, wow. I love
That's-
that.
I know, they called me back twice too. And I think that my agent had some very personal issues and kind of dropped out of sight, and I just let it go. And so now I'm pursuing a new agent this year, and you know, and I have work, Ellen, but everything's on hold.
Well, no, it's starting up now. It's starting up now for sure, and it's a good time to get a new agent because they're going to look at your reel. And so, if you're proud of your reel and do a great cover letter with a little zing, and I'm sure you'll get one. You have a great look, and there are parts out there. There are. I don't care what anyone says. There are.
No, I think it's a good time to be re-entering in the middle of
Mhm.
my life, because there are a lot of female roles at my age.
Right. I
Okay.
definitely think just concentrate and focus on either a manager or an agent. Doesn't matter which one, just so they want to work with you.
Can you recommend a couple to me that you think would be advantageous for a woman?
You know, I don't really know New York agents and managers. I know one who is in Atlanta, and I think she's in New York now too. Susan, I don't know. I'd have to look at your reel and see if, because I know her so well, if that's something she'd be interested. But you could send it to me, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask you, Ellen, now you studied with Lee, but what did you do to get into the studio?
You know, this was so long ago, and I can't even remember the scene I did. And I tried how many times? I think I tried 2 times for my preliminary and once for my
Final,
the big one.
the final.
And yeah, and I was so excited because I used to work in the office, you know, when Mary Mercier was there.
Mary,
Remember?
sure.
I worked in the office for quite a while, and then I got in, and I was so excited. You know, I don't know what's going to happen now, though.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Mary was something. She always liked me because she said, I like John because he likes older women.
She used to remember she used to have all the windows closed and smoke. So you walked in, it was like, Mary. So I think she did that so you wouldn't walk in.
Yeah. She was a piece of it. She's still around, alive.
No, she passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that, man.
She was at assisted living. I visited her a couple of times, and her mind sort of, she wasn't well mentally.
I
She
didn't
kept,
know that.
yeah, she kept
I never
thinking,
heard about it in the studio.
no, she used to carry a suitcase around when I would say, come on, I'm going to pick you up to go to breakfast or something. And she'd get the suitcase, and she said, people are robbing me and all my papers, and can you see them? They're behind me. And at first I didn't realize that, you know, it wasn't real. And I kept looking behind me. So, and then she had this, and it got worse and worse. And then she went to assisted living at a very nice place, old brick buildings, really nice, looked very East Coast. And then she did pass away.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. because I really admire.
I loved her.
That job was really very difficult.
Tell me, Helen's incredible.
Helen, I don't know how she does it either.
Deserves a medal.
Well, Helen, you know, 30 years with Johnny Carson.
I know. So
Private secretary.
yeah,
Let's get back into
yes, let's do.
your acting.
I'm just looking to see if my dog's there. Okay,
Yeah, there he is.
my guard pug. Okay.
Now, so you got into the studio.
Hmm.
What do you remember your final? What you did?
No, I don't. I don't remember. When you get older, it's very hard to remember. So things, I can't remember what it was. And who's the new Jennifer told me what it was about 2 months ago, and I forgot already. So you got to catch me that day. But I was so thrilled. Oh my God. I was there when Lee was there for years. He was brilliant. And when I took his class, this is interesting to know, he would, had a little click. He used to do a lot. And I remember when everyone was doing Bronx, oh my God, I can't remember
Bronx
the play.
Tale?
No, before that, way before. Anyway, and there was a character there, Pussyface. And I remember when he'd go, so when you call Pussyface, it's like, and he's like your grandfather, Anyway, he was so brilliant. It was unbelievable. It just, you couldn't believe the words that came, and he didn't stand for nonsense. He didn't stand for, well, but I couldn't, and then no, cuts right to it and gave you wonderful, wonderful things that was deeper than your usual critique, and really.
Can you remember some of them?
Oh, I remember he used to do this exercise that was great. When you have an inner monologue, there's an inner monologue as the character, and then there's your inner monologue. And I remember, do you remember Marianne Hill, blonde? She was in Godfather. She played wife of John, who passed away. Anyway.
Oh, yes.
So.
Meryl Streep's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, John Cazale.
Yes. Yeah, Meryl Streep's boyfriend. Exactly. She was there, and he said to her, do an inner monologue of what you're feeling in the moment. So much fear came out, so much, and he worked with that. I'm afraid nobody will like me because, and then she went down. He said, why is that? And he's not your therapist. He's not he's just trying to open doors so you can do more with your self, Right. And he went into it, and it was amazing. And it's almost like he worked her through it. He's so wonderful, but you have to listen. You listen to him, and some people didn't, it didn't work with them. Do you understand? They took a class or two or one semester, whatever, and they never came back, and they didn't like him. But he's talking about the craft. He's not trying to do anything with you, but he's really talking about opening up the doors to your craft. And I miss him so much.
I find people like that just like, they're all about themselves. They're looking to be, they want somebody, they go to some acting teachers who are going to glorify them and make them sound good and feel good instead of getting to like when I do a scene, I always ask people, tell me what didn't work.
Exactly.
They want to hear what didn't work.
What I wanted to work on, what I worked on, what worked, what didn't work. Why do you think this worked? And then why do you think this didn't work? And let's work on that. Let's do that part again. That's what you have to do with someone.
Yes.
So, I miss him. He was so wonderful.
I knew Salome was with him, 25 years?
Yes. I was in the hospital once. I won't go into why, but I was there for a couple of months. It was bad. And I got this big card from my class. We miss you. We're not laughing, boom, boom, boom. And then tiny little print. I still have the card. Use it in your work, Lee Strasberg.
Yes, use it in your work.
That's what he was about.
Yes. Well, Mark brought that out too, when he says, our pain is an actor's gift.
Exactly.
Yes, it's an actor's gift. And I always remember that it's such a, and actually, the things that I did wrong and this and that, actually I feel good about now because I can use them.
Right, because you can use it. Absolutely. That substitution is so powerful. Sometimes I'll work with kids, I coach kids and stuff, and it'll be a heavy scene or something. And maybe if the parents weren't together would be better for the scene. And I'll say, are your parents together? Yes. Oh, God. So it's like bad news for me. What? It's like, you're the only person whose parents are still together. I'm trying to work here. Anyway, so it's, you know, it's, I just love I love the work. I love the craft. I love to see people getting better, taking risks, and putting themselves out there. Just putting yourself out there is a big deal,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. You worked on, and I worked American Buffalo, didn't you?
I worked on American Buffalo with Susan Peretz, and I
Right.
forget the Pamela somebody. I forget.
Was it Pamela Guest?
No,
No.
it goes way back. The
Way
person
back.
passed now. And
Yes.
Lee Grant moderated. She was fabulous.
Yes, yes.
And she loved it. So she, this is a funny story, sort of. She wrote her, I don't know whether it was her agent or her accountant or somebody was the same as who wrote it? American Buffalo.
There was, I forgot his name myself.
Ray or no?
No, yeah.
No,
It'll
it's
come, it'll come. Yes.
anyway, so she contacted him and said, we'd like to do a production, an all-girl production of American Buffalo.
Yeah, I heard
And
that.
he doesn't like women too much, you see. And so he wrote a
Yeah,
note.
he doesn't like the studio either.
Doesn't like studio, doesn't like women. So he said something about very flowery, like when an architect builds a building, they don't like it ruined by whatever or something. That was the women doing the thing. So we never did it, but we did a couple of scenes from it, and we had. I was Dawn. I had the little you know, shop, not antique, you know, the sort of
The
used
pawn shop.
pawn shop.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite plays ever.
yeah. I did it at the studio too, but
Who'd you play?
I played the owner too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the parts are unbelievable. And
Yeah.
I think that the kid was the smartest one. He got his, he knew how to play everyone. I thought what was the name of the character of the kid? I forget now.
I got now too.
He was fabulous.
Yeah.
And then they did a film of the play with, wasn't it Pacino and Dennis Franz?
And it's France, yeah.
Yeah, and then they had a black kid for the kid.
Yeah.
But it was really, you know, when you shoot a play, it's not a film. You could open it up and make it a film.
Yeah.
So, and back in those days, I don't think they'd have a black kid as that character, that particular character. So I didn't particularly like the so-called film version.
A lot of it, yeah, a lot of them, they become politically correct and they ruin things.
Yes, right. They ruined it for that. Plus it was a play on film. Where it wasn't really a film.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
I
I enjoy making film. You know, that's what I do too. I write and direct film.
Yeah, I saw in your credits you got 5. You directed. Well, I saw 5, and you wrote 5. Right?
I wrote and directed an international award-winning. I mean, I had a great time on the festival circuit, and both of my films were great, and people loved them. Now I'm writing a feature because those were short
What
films.
was the one that won? What was it about? And Valentine, you have a question for it, please, you know, feel free. I don't.
Okay, thank you
Have
for
any
letting me know,
questions?
John.
I did too. I did Waiting for Ronald, which was about a developmentally disabled man who's about 35, who spent all his life in an institution, and it's about him finally leaving and meeting his best friend, taking the bus, meeting his best friend, who used to be in the institution with him, but now is living out, and he's going to live with him and get a job. So it's a whole new life. It's all the fears. It's everything. And Bruno Kirby played the counselor. He was fabulous.
What a loss! What a loss!
Oh, terrible, terrible loss. Yeah, terrible
So
loss.
young. I worked with his father. The first play I did at Acting Studio was called The October Night of Tommy Zero by Mike Gazzo.
Oh my Gazzo.
Yeah. And it's funny because Tony Sirico, who was on The Sopranos, he studied with Michael in New York, and their play there was called The October Day of Tommy Zero. We did this in 1985 when I came. That's when I came to the studio.
You know, the parent, Bruno's father,
Yeah, Bruce.
Bruce, And Rosalind lived a block away from me they had an apartment there. I think they're in assisted living now, from what I hear.
Well, yeah, Bruce is
Yeah,
must be close to 90, in his 90s now.
in his 90s.
I
Yeah.
worked with him with John Candy called Armed and Dangerous. And
Oh, wow.
he always liked me because when I did the play, he told me afterwards, he says, we loved you in it because we never knew what you were going to do when you came on stage.
That's a surprise. That's the
Yeah.
best thing.
I was talking to somebody about how once you're on stage, the director has with Al Bonadies was the director. And he's still
Oh, Albonides, yes.
He owns,
Was he
yeah.
good?
Huh?
Was he good?
Well, I guess so. I don't know.
You just did your thing.
I did my thing.
Yes, I love that.
I did my thing. And he came to me a few times and he thought about, changing me. He says, you gotta listen to me. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, just always say, okay, I'll try that. And then do your thing.
And I do whatever
I
I was talking to somebody the other day about it. As an actor, whatever the moment took me, that's where I went.
Exactly.
Marilyn Hassett, I remember Carol O'Connor was in the audience one day, and I remember, and Marilyn was off stage and she's supposed to come. We're all waiting for her. Excuse me. And I remember saying, wait, I'll go get the bitch. But it was in character because the play took place in a bar.
Yeah.
So, it worked. So I ran upstairs and said, come on, get out of here. And I remember Carol O'Connor just looking, But he used to give us notes afterwards, and he would never let us meet the audience. And, plays are not reviewed at the studio.
Right.
And
Send
I
it from Q&A after, yeah.
And we never got to meet the audience.
Oh.
He would take us in the back and give us notes instead of giving it to the next day.
Yes, they're definitely, especially you don't do it right when people come off.
Yeah,
Not where their head's at.
That's what he did, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't listen to him, because I was really pissed at him because all these people I could have met, and you're a young actor, it's just
Right, exactly.
And you're at the actor studio, and all these people are there. Mike Gazzo, everybody. I mean, there was a lot of famous people there back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
The studio was a lot different than before the school.
Right. It was a whole different thing.
Yes, it was.
Whole different thing. Oh, my God.
Actually, even Salome told me I was one of the last to get in on the old version of, how do you get in? And they're back to that now. Lou and Salome are bringing that back. There was a question I keep meaning to ask. And the reason I asked, I remember when Joanna Cassidy got in, we all wait in line, then we have to sign in.
Yes.
That board.
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking at Joanna Cassidy the first time she had to sign that. And there was that look on her face of, wow. It was almost that intimidation.
Right.
Sign her name at the actor's studio. And I was wondering about, when as a member, if you could remember what it felt like when Mary called me up and told me I passed, what it was like, that feeling when you first got into the actor's studio as a member.
I think you feel like you've gone.
You feel like, yeah.
I feel like I went up in status, no two ways about it. I felt that. And I felt that I had found a home, I could work out, I won't be judged, and I can work with people that I think are wonderful actors and love their work. And if they want to work with me, I could work with them, and this would be such a gift. Yes. And when Strasberg moderated, nobody talked, just Lee. And I liked that, but anyway. Yeah, yes, exactly. And so I just felt there's acting can be very isolating, and this felt like I belonged, and that I can refine my craft constantly at this place. And I just it was such an incredible feeling. I'm still an actor, but I just felt like I had found this incredible home, and that that you had to be really good to belong, and I liked that.
Yes.
So yeah, it was an incredible feeling.
I remember being as a finalist, I was in awe
Mm-hmm.
of the people around me. And when I became a member, I felt equal, whether you were
Yes.
Paul Newman or whoever you were, I was your equal, because you had to pass the same test as me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that you found a great home, that you keep refining your craft and keep refining your craft, and these people understand what you're working on.
Right.
That's incredible.
And they took it for your talent, not your money.
Exactly.
So it was free.
Yeah, that's
And that's, I always appreciated that they took me for my talent.
exactly. That you can keep refining. That's the beauty of it. That you don't just stay where you are, you keep refining and working on it, and they understand it, and they're all working on it.
Yeah. And it was great back in the day, because as a finalist, I could work alone. I used to work on Gary Gilmore a lot, and Alfari from A View from the Bridge. And I never forget that, because Hildy Brooks, and I see it, on Netflix now, when they show you the ratings, at the end it says smoking. And I don't know what that means. You have violence, nude, and then at the end it's smoking.
Smoking.
And I always think of Hildy Brooks.
Hildy, oh.
I was doing Alfari on stage, and she was moderating, and she had the side door open, and she stood outside.
Hildy. Hildy's a real character. She's fabulous, but a real character.
Fabulous. Oh, I mean, I always told her, every time I watch, Netflix and it says smoking, I think of Hildy Brooks. She must have had that put in.
I have a question for you. So John convinced me to try out for the Actors Studio next year.
Mhm.
And I had looked into it already this year, but everything's, dead because of COVID.
Mhm.
So we were talking about this yesterday, and he said they want you to choose something contemporary to put up
Yes.
under 5 minutes. But
Yes.
what does contemporary mean now, Ellen? Is it contemporary from the 1960s and up? What do they mean by contemporary?
Yeah.
Does it have to be something from today, from the past 10 years? Do they still, I guess my question is, I love the classics, I love Joe.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay.
We don't care what you love. Because I'm a part of the admissions, you would have to show me the work. So
Prior to putting
the
it on.
audition committee,
Okay.
none of the classics. I wouldn't do anything from the 30s or 40s or 50s. I would do more 80s, 90s now. Yeah, that's what I would do. And only 5 minutes, no more. They'll stop you. So don't think you're going to get a big transition in the 6th minute, because you're finished.
Yeah.
So and not too many props. Don't get prop laden. You could bring some things in, and and you draw a sketch of how, like, I want the couch here, I want the chair here, boom, boom, boom. And then you could bring, if you have like certain little things to bring in. But as you walk in, they start you. So if you're going to set up for 3 minutes, then you only have 2 minutes for a scene. So don't, you know what I mean? Come in as the character, because some people don't do that. They come in as themselves, set up, they take a moment, and then they're the character. Just come in as the character already, and put a couple of things, what you need, and then go into it.
Okay. Do they want to see, so if I decided not to do the full 5 minutes and do something that's 3 minutes, do they want to see a monologue?
No monologues. No monologues. And if you want to do 3 minutes, you can do 3 minutes.
But
Make sure there's a transition in it. You know what I mean? Don't get stuck one level.
No,
I recommended to that she do less than 5 minutes and leave them hanging, looking for more.
Yeah, if you have, and you can edit a scene, cut a scene, whatever. And I wouldn't do what they see. Now, I don't know. I'm not in New York. I'm in LA. You're in New York, right?
right.
Yeah, so you're gonna audition in New York?
Yes.
So I don't know that much about New York audition. I know about LA. And make sure your scene partner is as excited about auditioning as you. Don't have someone do you a favor. It never works.
Well, I'd be doing them a favor by asking them to audition for the
Exactly.
acting studio. So,
Exactly.
you know, it has to be somebody that really wants to get in like I do.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny, Ellen, that's when you just spoke about how you felt getting in, that's exactly the points that I'm at in my life. I feel like I'm craving and looking for that support group of like-minded people that
Right, exactly.
we can just be there for each other, learn from each other, promote each other. Um, you know, I haven't had that for a long time.
Yeah, it's a gift. It truly is. I coach a couple of people in New York.
Virtually?
Yeah, a Zoom. I Zoom coach and Zoom teach. So I have a girl that comes from China, that's from China that Zooms. It's crazy now, but I like it. It works good for me.
Well, you know what? It's better than not doing anything. I've taken some classes through Zoom. It's better than not auditioning.
I,
It's different. It's different. All these self-tape auditions. I'm missing the energy
of
you know,
walking in the
just,
room and
yeah.
connecting. I have a couple of friends who are casting directors, and one of my best friend is a casting director, and she misses that as well. She goes, I miss when I see someone come in and how we connect and that energy or not. And she goes, I miss that so much. We're supposed to be with the actors. So,
Right.
There's
Joanna
nothing-
Ray was my rabbi out here. Remember the
oh
captain?
yeah.
Joanna Ray.
Oh,
Yeah,
the best, the sweetest. Oh my
yes, she
God.
was. You know, one of the best thing, I was doing a scene for her, and she believed me so much, she ran out and got water. She thought I was having a heart attack.
That's a good sign. So
Yeah.
that's a good
She
sign.
really enjoyed me, you know. I mean, Joanna
But
Ray.
when I'm sorry.
No, she was married to Aldo Ray. That's how she got the name.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
the actor. Yeah,
I
Joanna Ray.
when I teach, I do script analysis, I do scene work, I do improv. And when I say improv, I don't mean I'm a piece of broccoli. I mean like do the scene. Now do an improv of the scene. Don't do the lines. It breaks you free, Then do the scene. And then I do some exercise, and then we do a lot of auditioning because this is the time to really get that going. Plus, it's just like a self tape or Zoom, whatever. So it's been going really well, and I'm enjoying teaching. I always enjoy teaching and coaching. I love it, but we're doing a lot of work on Zoom.
You said something interesting. My first acting teacher, Renata Manhart, she was in Greenwich Village. She never liked the word teach. She was an acting coach. When I heard you say that, so and
Yeah.
do you think there's a difference when?
Well, how they say it now is if you have a class, it's called teaching. If you coach one person, it's called coaching. Or it doesn't matter really, but I coach a lot of people to get audition, when they get an audition. I coach people that don't want to be in a class, but they want to learn. And I coach people that already got the job and they want to know what they're doing when they get there, because there's no time to not know. Don't think a director's going to tell you everything. You come in with everything.
Right.
And so and that's so fabulous. Sometimes people call me from wherever and send me scenes or a script so that I can go through it with script analysis with them. I love that.
Yeah. Before you came, she runs a session at the studio where she sits down and they break down script analysis, and it's really wonderful. And I had a big complaint that there's a lot of new actors at the studio, observers and finalists, who are not in her class. I mean, it's something that pisses me off.
Well, you know what? When I read a script, I automatically break the script down as part of my character development. You know, it's part, to me, it's part of the process of developing the character and thinking about everything from wardrobe to who she is, how she got there, you know, the underlying circumstances. You know what, Ellen? I hope this isn't too
Horrible. But
no. I would love to maybe work with you, coach with you privately, and maybe you could help guide me on appropriate scene work and see where I'm at
for
before
the studio, you mean scenes? You mean scenes for the studio?
Scenes for the studio, scenes to audition for the studio. I'm so glad that John invited me to speak to you, because I wasn't going to select, like, you know, an Arthur Miller or Tennessee Williams, but you know, I did have Renee Taylor and Joe Bologna in the back of my mind. So I think
That's good. I love their material.
But you're saying that's not contemporary enough, right? So
What are you thinking of?
I was thinking of doing a scene from the first act of It Had to Be You, Theta Blau.
Yeah, that's all right. You could do that. Did you ever see their film Made for Each Other? Made for Each Other.
No, but I watched Love Is All There Is with Lainey Kazan, Renee Taylor. She was the crazy spiritual psychic in City Island. Joe Bologna was Lainey Kazan's husband, and they were Paul Savino owned an opposing restaurant on City Island, and they were competitors, and the story of the Bronx Romeo and Juliet, their son and daughter fell in love, and they did everything possible to keep them apart. Through comedy, it was hysterical.
Well, Made for Each Other is the first film they ever did, and they're both in it. And it's, I don't know where it is or how you can get it. I think we'll just try. And it is absolutely incredible.
Well, some of your French is online, aren't they? Or Amazon might have it.
But you can see the movie on something. I'm not sure what.
Amazon.
Google it. Yeah.
I watched the other movie on Amazon Prime, as a matter of fact. So maybe I can find this on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Made for Each Other.
Not many people saw it, and it was many years ago, but it still stands. It's still good.
They were great together. They were writers and actors. You know.
I read a couple of, I was supposed to do a play with Renee, and we would rehearse at her house. And she's such a character. And I played her sister-in-law. And then after a while, Deborah Pearl wrote it. And after a while, it sort of fell apart. But it was fun.
They were all members of the studio, too. You know, the only one that I think is not Paul Savino. Everybody else is a member of the Actors Studio.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So
Yes, that was great. Lenny Kazan was just worked with it. You know, when you were talking about coaching too, I just did a show with Catherine Collin, who's another one who's a great coach, and I love her moderating, and you know her critique. Your critique is always very, very good. You know, some people are. You know, I wish they keep quiet, because you know when you know I really
People
do.
raise their hand and you don't want to see the hand. So right.
But you know, I do.
Before we quit, I'll give you my email and my phone number. How's that?
that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, well, do you want to make it public, or?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, well, you could do that. You can do it right now if you like.
Okay. Do you have a pencil?
I do.
Remember those?
I've been taking notes.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, of course.
That's
So, okay, so my email is Lulu, Lulu, Productions, that's plural, and then you put a number 4. So it's luluproductions4@gmail.com. And my number is 323-791-6064.
And she's also on Facebook, so you can.
Oh, okay. I'll friend request you. I'll friend request you on Facebook as well.
Okay. Did you get the number? 323-791-6064.
6064.
Yes.
Lulu, as in Lulu in Hollywood, Lulu Productions 4@gmail.com.
Perfect. And I have a website, you know, Ellen Gerstein, you can go to that. I think my short movies are on there too.
I watched part of your reel,
Oh,
you
you
know,
did?
driving home,
Oh,
and
Yeah, I put up your IDM, whatever it is.
oh yeah, thank you.
I put it up there.
I have to tell you, I remember I also studied at the Lee Strasberg Institute and Stella Adler and HB.
What did you study with at Strasbourg?
Oh God, you're
I know.
testing my memory. Michael Margada, I
Uh,
remember studying with him. Hope Arthur.
I don't know.
They studied with Lee. When I got into the Lee Strasberg Institute, I wanted to study with people that studied
Study
with
with
him.
Lee. Perfect.
He had already passed, and the same with Stella. I wanted to study with
Right.
people that studied with her, and the same at HB. But you know, I remember going there, and I like vaguely remember a lady smoking in the office. Now that you mentioned it.
So you saw my reel on the way home,
So I'm
and
driving home. I saw you. I was watching your reel as I was driving. Of course, I'm not supposed to be doing that, but I do it anyway. And I really appreciated the one word, because I remember Michael Beckett. He was my first acting coach. Said, you know, you could just say one word and get so many different experiences out of it. And when just the one word rape to the guy that was getting
rapist.
rapist.
That was Steve Carell, the guy. So
But you created an entire scene around one word, and I appreciated that.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just the power in the moment and what you brought to the moment physically on one word.
Thank you very much. So I'd love for you to see my two movies. One's 21 minutes and one's 16. One's called Come Away With Me, and one's Waiting for Ronald. And I think they should be on my website.
Are they on your website? Okay, I'll look them up too. I should have looked that up and put them up.
And I've got a lot on the website. If you don't see it, just let me know. You can email me and I'll send them to you.
I was just thinking, now the studio in Hollywood, did you go to Theodore's or the Rain Check Room? Did you? Because I
Yeah.
remember, you know, the studio back then in the 80s and 90s, after the session, we all went and hung out together, a lot of us.
There
That's
was
so different. It's so stopped.
downstairs, there was a small, like, coffee shop called Snow White's. And Lynn Tufeld and Geraldine Barron had passed away, but Geraldine, Lynn, and I used to hang out. And after class, we would go there and we would talk about whether it was the exercises or the scene. And I mean, really talk for hours. Did you see this? I was working on this. What if that, blah, 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 blah. Nobody does that anymore, but
Don't do that.
and we spent so long. Plus, we would put down, you could reserve a room at night to work on your work.
Right.
And we're always there working on our exercises, working on the moment before, working on substitution, the scenes, the script, always.
Yeah. They don't, that doesn't happen anymore. Years ago, we all hung out in
Yeah.
like the Rain Check Room or whatever.
And worked,
New
and
York.
I talked about the work.
Yes,
Yeah.
talk about the work. In New York, we went to Jimmy Ray's.
Joe Allen's.
Yeah, Joe, when we had that money to go to Joe Allen's, we could run a tab at Jimmy Ray's, you know. We sit there. I remember Tony Page, and he was in Prince of the City, he had a voice, hey, like this. But he was in Attica with me, you know, the prison.
Uh-huh.
He got out and he got that movie, and he'd sit in Jimmy Ray's and always had a script. Let's work on lines, work on lines. Victor Argo and all of them guys.
Oh, yes.
He passed away, and yeah, it's funny because Vic and I were really close, and he told me one day when I was back in New York, he says, you know, I sent you to California. I said, why? He says, so we wouldn't be up for the same parts.
You know, that's funny.
Yeah. He had a place in the village there on Barrow Street.
Oh, yeah, Barrow Street.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in the Bronx. I live in Country Club in the Bronx.
Oh, I didn't know you were in the Bronx. So Country Club, I used to go to Country Club played
Well,
football over there. I lived in Bronx Neck.
I was watching actually some of your videos on YouTube last night, some of your other interviews, and I didn't realize that you grew up on Belmont in the Bronx. I'm
Yeah,
there all the time.
literally, yeah. Like, well, I went away because you ever see the movie The 7-Ups?
No.
It's about an organized crime task force in the Bronx, and they're the ones that arrested me. And that was Richard Lynch's
Richard Lynch.
his first starring role.
Oh.
We used to hang out together. What a loss, you know. Well, he was never the same after his son died, you know.
You know, my mother was born in the Bronx and lived in the Bronx, and I was born in the Bronx.
Yeah, I was too. The South Bronx. I was born in Lincoln Hospital.
Well, my grandparents came here from Bari, Italy, and they lived on Mott Street. They came in through Ellis Island. They moved to Mott Street. They had 7, you know, I had aunts and uncles, 6 aunts and uncles, plus my dad. And what did they do? My grandmother took care of La Familia. My grandfather worked until they saved enough money, and they bought a house in the Bronx. Now it's the South Bronx.
That's strange, because
But
most everybody from the Mott Street either went to Queens or Brooklyn.
Yeah.
From Italian Harlem, which is Spanish Harlem, went to the Bronx. Everybody from there. It was funny that your family moved to the Bronx,
they moved
which
to
is
the
unusual.
The house is still there. You know, I drove by there a couple of years ago because every Sunday, typical traditional Italian family, every Sunday we were all there. Now there's 7 brothers and sisters, 2 grandparents, so that's 9, plus their significant others is 18, and all of the kids. So every Sunday there was like 30 people for dinner. And it was just normal. And we had the party room downstairs in the basement. The upstairs was the mausoleum with all of the plastic
Furniture.
You weren't allowed in there.
You weren't allowed to sit on it. Weren't allowed to sit on the couch or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had all,
But you know what, John? Those were good. Those were great times.
the 50s, yes.
Times. Well,
You're younger, but I go back to the 50s. And what I was getting back with, you know, the 7-Ups, it was an organized crime. Because that's what I went to prison for, organized crime. I never get hired in the movies as a gangster. You know, they never hired me as a gangster. I was telling somebody the other day, I was up for the movie Attica, and they said I wasn't the type. I said, but I was there. Actually, the prison guard who wrote it, I was on his gang.
Oh my God.
He would have loved to see me again, you know? I worked on an outside gang in Attica. And I got out in 77 on work release. I got out because of acting. I got work release because of acting.
Really?
Yeah, the street theater used to come in first in Sing Sing. They came in to Sing Sing, the street theater they had back in the 60s and 70s.
I did a lot of street theater.
Yeah, well, I did. That's what got me out, the street theater. And we used to go around, you know, on a truck.
Mm-hmm.
The Harlem and this and that, and the truck would open as a stage. And you talk about, you know, winning the crowd over, you know, in Harlem, being a white kid. And I remember I had one line, I used to, come here, boy. And you hear the whole audience go, ooh. You know, when I told the other black, it was to a black actor, you know. And it's funny because I tell people I played Oedipus in Attica. And I played Santa Claus. It was the only play I think E.E. Cummings ever wrote. It was called Santa Claus. It was about Santa Claus and death were the same person in the play that E.E. Cummings wrote. And he had a line that in his poetry, that I always, till this day, I still think of it. He said, "I rather learn how to sing from one bird than to teach 10,000 stars how not to dance." And I thought that was such a great way, you know. Why should I teach everybody to be miserable, how not to dance? And I used to sign my letters, P.S. I like the opera. People never say, well, you know, Ellen, that I always play opera music or whatever, Luciano or whatever. And now that's a good point. Music helps me a lot in rehearsal.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love it. It puts me in different moods.
Right.
It take me wherever I need to go.
Yes.
Very important.
And I try to emphasize that with people. Sometimes I listen to like Miles Davis, that mood or whatever, it gets me in something, Luciano Pavarotti, these things, Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole was a great one for speech. I used to sing his songs because you had to open your mouth
Mhm.
if you sing a Nat King Cole song, pretend,
Yeah.
and it helped me with speech. I remember sitting in Jimmy Ray's that sometimes people would think I was British because I would pronounce the words, and it was that's little things that help as an actor that we learn. The method, we were talking about the method. I don't know what you feel about the method. I always felt the method was my method is the method. Whatever your method is the method. Because a lot of the things that I hear on stage after a scene, I don't understand that because I can't, I just do it. I'm a doer actor. I read a script and it takes me somewhere. I don't have to worry about a history or anything. I just want to see where these lines take me.
I think that everybody works what's best for them. But I think the tools they use are either method or they're another type. And Lee used to always say, if you don't need to do any tools, don't use it. If you don't need it, don't use it. But if you need it,
it's there.
If you need it, then you know how to do it because you know how to work your tools and you know what you need. And I think that's important.
Renata Manhart told me that in the beginning. She called me one of the greatest natural talents that she ever met. But she said, without technique, you go nowhere. She told me.
You gotta have a technique.
Huh?
You gotta have a technique.
You gotta have a technique. To be able to
it depends on, because it's not gonna always work just you working. It depends on who you're working with too. And if you're not getting this or that, then you have to create it for yourself and then you'll know how to create it.
That's something she was talking about on the show, and I'm glad you brought that up because she was talking about how she works with actors and they don't give her what she wants. And what does she do then?
That's where your tools come in.
Yeah.
That's where substitution comes in.
Yeah.
That's where, which is a tremendous thing. And that's where, of course, your moment before drives you into the scene. And the scene never starts just from the first sentence. It starts before that. And you have to do things to make it work for yourself. Because a lot of times no one's going to give it to you. And the director might not know how to help you. And he's got she has other things to think of. So you have to substitute. And I think substitution is a wonderful tool. I think it does not take you out of the scene. I think it gets more intimate. And I think you have to be specific. That's so important. When it's general, I don't care if it's good, but it's general, it's not good enough. It has to be specific. And you have to go through that script and make sure if you say something, you know what you're talking about, and you have something in your head that's there, because you can tell in someone's eyes if it's general or if they're really talking about something. Now, you can have in your head a dog. They don't know what's in your head, and you could be having a scene with a kid and you're thinking of a certain dog that would be good for that scene. So there's something real there. There's something in your eyes. There's something in you from your head to your toe. You have something specific and personal. And they don't know if it's a dog or not. I'm a rescuer and stuff. So I've used several different dogs because I've never had kids. But for certain things that I use, and it's just goes to my heart. And I know it must show. That's something specific.
Talking about dogs, look behind you. Your dog came
I
out.
know, it's my,
You and
my guard.
laying on the floor.
Yeah. She left her throne.
Yes.
She's the boss. So, but that's the main thing I tell people too. don't be general. Anyone can be general, and don't think it's good enough because it's good, but it's general. It's got to be specific. It's got to be personal. It's got to mean something to you, and you're thinking of something, you know, just like life. You're thinking of something. So, and that shows through your eyes and face and whatever.
I always,
Very important.
I always felt that that was part of, that's an important key to having a successful audition, is to be in like your, let's say you're putting up a monologue, whatever you're auditioning, you are in that moment for real. And so it's a live conversation that's coming out of you, and it's very realistic instead of just a generalized haze of putting up some actions and rehearsing some lines. I always felt that the casting directors could tell if
Yes,
you
they
were
can.
really that person, or if you were just putting up a rehearsal.
You can tell in a moment, in a moment.
Yeah.
And oh, just thinking about monologues, it's really a scene because you're talking to someone. And you know what I mean? When you're doing a monologue, you have to know specifically who you're talking to, where they are, and why you're saying each thing you're saying. So, and it's, you know, it's all, the stakes have to be really high in everything. You know, if it's not, if you don't care, we don't care, you know.
Right.
Like sometimes someone will have a part in the scene, and it's really, you know, you got to get those stakes high, and they do it sort of casual. And I always say, like, it sounds like you're saying, like, come on, let's go get a Coca-Cola. You're talking about a death of you, whatever, you know. So well, let's raise those stakes, get it personal, get it specific, get it to mean something to you, you know.
Yes.
It's so exciting.
No, it is, and you're right on all of it. I do at times. I have specific, you know, I'm thinking of something like when you said a dog. I always think of my dog, you know. Or there was a line in Huey where I had to say it blonde to have more fun. I thought of Salome, you know. You know.
I loved when you did Huey.
No, thank you. Yeah, the last time I did, I remember you gave me nice critique. I remember when.
Yeah, it's a good piece for you. Good piece for you.
Yeah, I was sitting outside before reading it again, because I asked Helen, when we come back, I like to do it. I thought about doing it on Zoom, but I don't know.
Everyone's doing Zoom.
Yeah, but I don't know. Actually, I don't know if you can do it on Zoom because it's you know, that's Eugene O'Neill. You might have to pay rights.
Oh, I don't know.
You know, I thought about that.
I don't know about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because everything is new plays that they're doing, like smartphone. You've done smartphone.
Twice.
Yeah.
Had a good time. They're shooting the piece that I did, Hear Me Out, it's called, with Lisa Richards, me and Lisa.
Right.
It's a really good piece. Bruce Goldsmith wrote it. And now they bring in a camera and lights and all that, and they're shooting it on Zoom, whatever. So anyway, so we're like a week away from doing that.
Oh,
So
that's
that
great. And Lisa Richards is another gift. She teaches at the studio, you know.
Yeah, we work good together. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah, because she's a brilliant actress. You know, when you look around at the studio, a lot of them are gone now. You know, but we had some great members. You know, Shelley Winters. I told her yesterday. Shelley Winters gave me the best advice as an actor. Sit down, John. You're acting.
Yeah, she's so funny. Well, Antonio, who was one of her husbands? Antonio, Anthony
Francios.
Yeah, so she walked into the studio and he was moderating, and she said, "Who's moderating? Who's that? Who is that?" Anthony goes, "Shelley, you were married to me." She goes, "Yeah, I thought you looked familiar." So she's so funny, but she's brilliant.
She was.
You know.
And you know, Anthony, I'm so glad, Anthony Francioso. I got at the studio one day. I walked up to him after a session. I told him, you know, I believe you're one of America's greatest actors. He was so unappreciated.
Yes, he was unappreciated. And he
It's
was
so
a
unappreciated.
lot, you know, but you have your craft and the love of the craft, and that is success, period.
Everything he did was so believable. And one of the best parts was across 110th Street, he played a gangster. And I told him, I says, you know, that was the best gangster role that I ever saw done. You know, and because I know gangsters, you know, and it was and he was, the man was incredible. Never got the credit that he deserved. Another one, it was just his birthday yesterday. Oh God, what's his? I called him the day he died. He died in 2001, and and his wife says to me on the phone, John, you can't come to the phone. He's died. Police are here. Whoa, oh God! His name always goes blank on me. He was in my favorite Martian. Who was my favorite Martian?
Are you Googling?
No. You know who it is. You know, as soon as Paint Your Way, everything he did, he stole it. He stole the show.
Bill Bixby?
Huh? Excuse me?
Bill Bixby?
No, the other one. He played the Martian.
Ray
Ralston.
Walston.
Oh, yes.
Ray Walston. What a gift he was to the
Yes.
studio. You know, and his name for some reason always goes blank on me.
You know, at the studio, talking about the studio again, I started once a month, Sunday, we would have a short film festival. So whoever made short films, we would pick 4 for Sunday, and we would show them, and you could invite anyone you wanted to. And then we had a Q&A, and I hosted the whole thing. We had just started that. We had done it for a few months. We had done, there was some wonderful films. And then it was very positive and very supportive and encouraging people to do something. Don't lay on a couch and wait for a phone to ring. Even if you don't know what you're doing, that's how everyone starts. And if there are any questions that you need, you can ask me afterwards, ask whoever did films, and get some support, get some phone numbers. And if you have something, or if you want to team up with someone that writes and you want to direct, put it out there, put it out there. And it really started to get so exciting and so much steam behind it. And people would come up and just thank me saying, you know, I'm going to work on this project now. I'm going to do. It got them more confident that it didn't matter that it was the first time or the second time or whatever, and that they could do it. And someone will be there to tell them, just call, you'll get, you know, and you'll make mistakes. That's normal. You learn from it. But do get out there and do. And there's some wonderful films. So the studio was really going towards putting your work out there more, and creating more, but putting it out there. And you know, film is big, so do it. You know, and do a play. Don't feel funny if the studio doesn't want to do that particular play. Get a theater and do it. Get some people together. Have a little group, and everyone put money in. However you want to do it, you must be creating and doing. It's a must. So I really love doing that and supporting.
You sound like the group theater right now.
That's how I feel, though.
No, but it's true. I mean, no, I'm not.
People get
That's what
complacent.
they did back then.
They just waiting for someone to call them. Well, no.
That's how old Actors Studio. Stella had all this came from the group, which you're talking about. They
Yeah.
got together and they,
Gotta do.
you know,
You know,
where's the lefty?
years ago, you could, like, if you were an actor, that was it. You were an actor. You didn't write, you didn't direct, you were an actor. You're a director, you direct, that's it. Nowadays, you can do it all. You write, you direct, you're writing, you can act. One of the films I did, I acted in it and directed it, adapted it, produced it, brought the bagels. I mean, you gotta do. So, and yeah, and you have to encourage people and support them.
Well, you do that, Ellen. I
I
mean,
love to do
you're a
it.
gift that we have at the Actors Studio.
Wow,
And I will say, no, I mean that. And because you know I don't bullshit.
no,
And I
thank you.
don't play up
That's
to
very
anybody.
sweet.
No, you are a gift. You know, you, Salome and Lisa. I mean,
Yeah.
and you really are a gift, and I'm so proud that I got to know you. And when you compliment my work, I know that it's, you know, I did something right. It was like David Patch, late David Patch.
Oh, I loved him.
Miss him. And he came up to me one day. We had known each other for years. And I after I'd done Huey, first time he saw me act, he walked up to me and he says, "Now I know why you remember."
Oh,
What a lovely sound that, you know, that when he said
just
that
so
to me.
you know it, he was so fabulous in Huey.
Yeah.
And I just so.
But he's come up to me and said that. He says, "Now I know why you remember." You
I
know?
think that propels you to want to do more and to
Well, of
want to
course. I
have
mean, well, not do more, but coming from my peers who I know,
Yeah.
I
it's
don't
me.
belong in the same room with them at times. I feel that, you know, to hear, their background of work, you know, is so great, Ellen and people like that. And to get a compliment that they appreciate your work, I mean, that's a gift. That's what acting is about. You know, I don't need the money. I don't need that. Ellen
It's
says I'm good. I know I'm all right.
connecting,
Connecting.
having people relate to what you're doing, not feel isolated. And I think that's the real gift. I just love that. And I hope we get back. Well, it's a small theater. You shut the doors, and that's the end of it. So everybody in there's going to be coughing. So, but soon, I'm sure.
I think after tomorrow, after the election, I think things are going to start to open up. I really believe that.
I sure hope so.
I do.
I do.
You know, listen, this has been great, Ellen. Thank you. And
Thank you so
it's
much.
been so informative. And I hope, Valentina, I hope you got something out of this. And
It was
please
a-
tell your friends about Ellen.
Yeah,
I
I coach and teach and terrific. Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear from you. I think it's going to be good.
Yes, yeah, I have a good feeling. I can't wait to connect. And John, thank you for inviting me to.
No, I mean, I appreciate, I like to see people who want to learn. I don't want movie stars. I want people who want to learn how to be an actor. You want to finish up, Ellen? You were going to say something.
I wanted to thank you for having me on. I thought it was great. I just adore you, and I love how we're talking. It's so inspirational.
Well, thank you. I'll be sending it to you very shortly.
Okay, thank you. Mwah.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, you guys.
Ciao.